Hey everybody, welcome to another Liam Looks At, and today we are looking at the sequel to 2018's Game of the Year winner, God of War Ragnarok. Big game, big sequel to obviously God of War Ragnarok and the God of War franchise as a whole. Yeah, I didn't get to play this on release. I waited and got it for a Christmas gift, so my review is a little bit late. And also, I beat the game about a month ago, about the beginning of January, and I've just been kind of going through a bunch of stuff. I've been streaming at twitch.tv/LiamTheDM. Check it out, check it out, check it out. But yeah, so I've got a couple games to review, but the first one I'm going in order is God of War Ragnarok. Fair warning, I will talk some spoilers, no story spoilers, but the gameplay is going to show characters that come in later, and I'm going to talk about sections of the game that may be considered spoiler very early on, but just in case you don't want to know anything, go ahead and click off the video. I don't care. Okay, so let's talk about God of War Ragnarok. I think that God of War 2018 was such a good game. It had so much going for it. It had kind of revitalized a franchise that I wouldn't say was dead, but just people thought had kind of run its course. But in this era of gaming and just in media in general, nothing truly ever is dead. Things always come back and remakes and reboots and all that stuff. So when God of War 2018 came out, it fucking blew everybody away. Everybody loved it. Everybody talked about how great the dialogue, how great the story was, the acting, the combat. It just kind of taken everything up a notch. So when God of War Ragnarok came out, everybody was extremely excited, me included. I had never played the original God of War games. I actually just recently played God of War 2005, the original, on my stream at twitch.tv/LiamTheDM. I have a video up now, kind of highlights of it, and I will be reviewing the game in the coming days. But yeah, so I started with 2018, which I loved, but we're talking about Ragnarok here. Ragnarok is the newest game, and it is big. It is a huge game. There is so much going on. There's so much to do, side quests and story and bosses and just additional little pieces of lore, collecting puzzles, all of this stuff. There's so much going on in this game. It is long. I mean, I would say I probably, including the story, I probably did about maybe 50% of all the content in the game. If we're saying the story is, a good chunk of it, and there is so much left for me to do. And I spent 32 hours in this game, according to my last save, and there's just a ton of stuff to do. I tried to I was going through it and kind of taking my time, and eventually I was just like, damn, I want to finish this game. So I kind of stopped doing side stuff, but I will go back and finish it. I really want to fight those optional bosses. The Valkyries are some of my favorite optional objectives in any video game I've ever done. It was hard, it was annoying, but it's exactly what I like, which is you just get in there, you fight, you lose, you try again. I mean, that's what I love about Dark Souls games and all this stuff. I just love a good one-on-one combat scenario, and that's what those Valkyries were, and they have an equivalent in this game, so it's very exciting. I'm going to talk about some of the negative things, because I think that a lot of people have been praising this game, and deservedly so, but there are things that I personally wasn't the biggest fan of. Big spoiler here, you get to play as Atreus in the game, which at first I really enjoyed. I thought that Atreus had some really cool sections and his combat was fun, but my problem with it turned, as the game went on, I feel like Atreus has had some sections that really slowed down the pacing of this game. And I understand, I understand why they made you play as him, and I think that it was all worthwhile in the story, but I think that there's one section specifically that it was like an hour of him just doing random chores, and I think it slowed down the game just so much, and it just made it. I remember sitting there and be like, I am ready to move on from this specific part of the game, and you should really, I don't want to feel that way, and it makes me not want to replay this game over 2018. Like, I would love to replay 2018 eventually one day, but this game, I kind of dread those Atreus sections. I think that his combat was a lot of fun, but eventually he never really evolved past his kind of original, few combos and stuff, and then he never really got any more weapons. A lot of it was based on just who you were with. I'm not going to talk about it, but if you know what I'm talking about, there is a weapon that shows up later that you think is like, oh shit, I got a new weapon, and then it kind of just it ends up not being that. So that is a big downside to this game, just because it focuses so much on Atreus. And granted, this game is huge. Like you play a lot as Kratos, obviously, and I just think the Atreus sections kind of slow it down at certain points. There are certain points that I love the Atreus sections. I just think they could have used less of them. Other than that, I thought the story of this game was really good. But my problem with it is it was so big. And in that I mean, if everybody expected this to be this epic game and all this crazy stuff going on. But at the end of the day, I think that the more condensed story of 2018 just felt more personal, where this felt kind of like the original games, to be honest, after playing the 2005 game. It just felt like shit is hitting the fan and it's going crazy. And as much as I like that, I think the characters suffered from not having as many memorable moments as they did in the original game. I think they tried to throw in so many characters and so much going on. Other than that, though, I will say the end of this game is fucking epic. I said it was almost similar to like an Avengers Endgame, where the end of Endgame when they open up the portals. That's how the end of this game felt. It just felt like a giant battle that was just shit was going on, and it really came together in the end. No matter how long, how the journey it took to get there, the missteps that I personally think the story took, overall, it is still a fantastic story. I just think it's one of those that don't lend themselves too great to replay. And on that note, I think Red Dead Redemption 2 is another one of those games that don't lend themselves so great to a replay, because there are moments that are great story-wise that gameplay-wise they don't kind of fall through. So that's where I kind of put this. And Red Dead 2 is one of my favorite games of all time. But that's how I kind of feel about the story of God of War Ragnarok. Going on about other things there, the combat I think is so well. It's done so well where they improved upon the original combat without making it seem too difficult. They added just enough new mechanics that don't make it overwhelming. So if you played 2018, it feels like the next evolution. It feels like the next step without feeling like they didn't add anything, and without feeling like there's so much that it's overwhelming. They added, the weapon arts, or however I don't remember what they call them, but every weapon has kind of a elemental charge ability, and each one is different. The axe, you hold down triangle and you put frost in your axe, and the chains of Olympus, the blades of Olympus, blades of chaos, good lord, the blades of chaos, you swing it around and sets it on fire, and all these can be modified. There's so many skills, there's so much going on. The armor is great. I think that it's a lot easier to follow from the first game. You can kind of just put on, there's an armor set that I got early-ish on in the game that pretty much suited me through the whole game, and I played on Gimme No Mercy, which was hard. But I feel like the armor was well done, and I think that all the skills and everything made the game feel like you were progressing. And I think that it's definitely more RPG-esque for the end game, but less RPG-esque for the just playing through. Which, if that makes sense, kind of. Yeah, but I really don't have too much good or bad to say about this game. I think that it does everything that it promises. 2018 was so good and everybody loved it, and I think God of War Ragnarok is just the next evolutionary step. It's not perfect, but it's pretty damn close to being a perfect game. There's so much to do, and I'm excited to jump back in and fight more bosses and do all this extra combat. But yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on it. I recommend this game. I recommend everything on here. I usually don't finish the game, but I do recommend this game. But I wanted to be pretty honest with my thoughts on it. Throughout the game, I did have moments where I was like, this is just not as good as God of War 2018. And that's honestly how I feel. I don't think it's as good. I think that the combat is great. And the addition to the combat is great. It's going to make it hard to go back to that original game. But I think there's something about that original 2018 game that it's just so much more well polished, where this is just they threw everything at you. But if you like big games, which I do, this has got a ton of stuff to do. So I give it my finish it, my play it. And yeah, I'm really excited for the new year of my streaming and all of the content that I'm going to be bringing to this channel. Thanks everybody for dropping by. Thanks everybody watching. The next review is going to be for God of War 2005, the original. Boy, do I got a lot to say about that game. So stick by, stick around, stick to the wall, sticky buns, baby, because we are in a hella ride for 2023. Thanks everybody. See you in the next one.